Hello everyone. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube, but I thought I'd make a video for you guys. So as you may know, I'm changing my channel away from alcohol towards religious content. It's part of my ever growing journey into Catholicism. Um, Conversion isn't a instantaneous thing; it is a journey, and it's a process. And I thought maybe I would share my conversion story. Um, this is my testimony to how I became a Catholic. Uh, it's a very long story, a very long story, um, and it's taking me down a very long path. Um, I used to be a Protestant. Um, I've been many different kinds of Protestants, or leaning towards different Protestant denominations throughout the years. I was raised Methodist, although I don't really remember going to church much. Um, In fact, for a very long time, I didn't know what religion I was, and for a very brief period of 8 years throughout high school, I considered myself agnostic or an atheist. I didn't believe in anything, let alone God or Christianity. Um, Throughout those 8 years, I believed in a lot of the lies that the American public school teaches of you to dissuade you from Christianity. Um, one of which is evolution, and I bought it wholesale. So I disbelieved in Christianity completely because I believed it was scientifically impossible that God created the world, which now I know is a lie. Um, it's a falsehood. In fact, science, as a general rule, is completely compatible with God, as science itself is the study of God's creation, the natural world. And science cannot disprove God because God is behind all of our metaphysical and physical reality. Um, so the idea that science can disprove God, and you can go, well, God isn't real because science. That's a complete falsehood. It's not logical. It makes absolutely no sense. But as a young kid, I did not know that, and we're talking like middle school here. I went to public school for most of my life. In fact, I I went to public school for basically all of my life, except for a brief period of time where I went to Catholic school. Um, that was due to issues that was happening at my public school. My parents pulled me out and put me into a Catholic school, and that was actually my first interaction with Catholicism. And back then, I still considered myself an atheist, but I also considered myself a Protestant because that's what I was always told what I was. So I got into many arguments with people at the Catholic school, including the priest that was the adjunct priest for the school. I regret those to this day because not only was I wrong, but I was extremely mean and mean spirited, and that mean spiritedness carried through my reversion to Christianity through Protestantism. I became an extremely anti-Catholic Protestant for a while. Um, Unfortunately, I believed a lot of falsehoods about the Catholic Church and misconceptions about the Catholic Church that I was taught through speaking to other Protestants. They were taught through their pastors and reverends and you know, clergymen within the Protestant religions that they were. And I flirted with many different forms of Protestantism. I also flirted with many different forms of other religions as well. For a brief period of time, I was really looking into Islam for a litany of reasons, but I did realize that that was an incorrect faith, in my own opinion. So that didn't happen. I was briefly interested in Eastern Orthodoxy, which was strange, considering they believed a lot of the things that Catholics believe that I considered as a Protestant to be completely heretical, like devotion to the Virgin Mary, saints, divine liturgy, Mass, Eucharist, all of these things that I, as a Protestant, believed were completely heretical. But because they weren't Roman Catholic, I was interested in them and I considered them Christians. It's a strange dichotomy that a lot of Protestants have where they don't see Eastern Orthodoxy or Oriental Orthodoxy as bad as Roman Catholics, mostly because of the fact that the Reformation broke off of the Roman Catholic Church. So there's a special disdain for Roman Catholicism within Protestantism. especially Baptist and non-denominational and Pentecostal Protestantism. So I never was interested in Pentecostalism because I had a lot of bad experience with Pentecostals. It's nothing against Pentecostalism. There are many lovely Christians that are Pentecostal, but I did have some negative experiences with Pentecostals, especially after my conversion to Catholicism. But within Protestantism, I was looking at non-denominationalism, Baptists, independent fundamentalist Baptists. I also briefly looked at Anglicanism, Presbyterianism, Calvinism also stoked my interest for a while, but I can't get beyond the idea that God would create man to be damned. I don't think that is characteristic of an omnipresent, omniscient, benevolent God. I don't believe that an all-loving God would create man to be damned. I don't. It doesn't fit in with God's character, free will, and redemption. So yeah, I couldn't get along with that. The Reformed faiths within Catholicism, within Calvinism, are all like that. They all have beliefs of double predestination, which I find heretical. I could not get behind that for the life of me. I also looked into Lutheranism. Lutheranism is actually one of the ones I was planning on joining. I was talking to Lutheran pastors, and I was talking to Lutheran friends within the Missouri Synod, and unfortunately a few within the ECLA, which is a different version of Lutheranism. It's very strange how broken up Christianity really is if you get into the deep waters of Christianity. We are a very divided faith with very, very diverse opinions and beliefs. I did not look into so-called progressive Christianity, which is a new thing that's coming out to fit Christianity and weave it in with the modern world. I can't get behind that. I don't believe God's laws intrinsically could change to fit with modern ideas of man. I did not look into Mormonism for obvious reasons. In fact, I don't believe you can really call Mormonism a Christian religion. It's quasi-Christian at best, and that's being very generous and charitable. I did not look into Jehovah's Witnesses, mostly because it's a non-Trinitarian belief, and another one of their beliefs that I find remarkably strange is they believe that heaven has a certain amount of people that it can hold, and it's already full. It's been full since the 40s, so there's literally no reason to join the religion. You cannot get into heaven. It's just not possible. They're one of the many religions that believe that we are already living in the end times, which is not a bad belief to have. It is a bad belief to have to say for sure, yes, we are in the end times, because the Bible says that no man shall know the hour or the day of when it will happen. So to say that, yes, it's happening now is absolutely incorrect. You can't do that. But to live as if we are in the end times and the second coming is not a bad thing to have. In fact, it's a very good way to live, because if you believe that you don't have much time, you have to reform your life now, which is what we really need to do. In fact, it's imperative that we get ourselves ready for death, because we may not see the second coming, but we will see death, and death can happen at any moment. So getting your souls ready now is a very imperative thing. Oh, wow, I just completely ranted. But to get to the main story, which is my conversion, I was in a large Discord server with a lot of different Christian denominations, and I actually became a moderator of said server. And I was extremely anti-Catholic for the first couple months of my time in that server. I almost got banned for it, actually, because I would just say the most ridiculous and misconceived notions about Catholicism. I was one of the people that was like, oh, Catholics worship Mary. They don't. They do not worship Mary. We do not worship Mary. That's a very important distinction to make, is we do not worship Mary. We venerate her as the Mother of God. Because without Mary, Jesus Christ would not be born. So it's veneration because she is very important and central to the faith. She's central to all the prophecies of Jesus' birth, and she's central to the Gospels and just the faith in general. So to say that we worship Mary is completely incorrect. We also do not worship the saints. We venerate them as important figures within church history, the same as secular world venerates great generals and great leaders by giving them statues and paintings. We do the same thing, and we also know that saints are in heaven, so they are in direct communion with God. So praying to Mary and the saints is the same as asking your mother, father, brother, sister, friend to pray for you in life, except we are praying to someone who is in heaven and right near God, and who is already in heaven. So it's a very good thing to do. I believe that the Pope was the Antichrist. I believe that the church was the whore of Babylon. And all of these ridiculous statements that Protestants were feeding me, and I believed hook, line, and sinker because I was a very, very new Christian. And unfortunately, I was very, very uncharitable to my Catholic brothers and sisters. And a few of the Catholic members of the server DM'd me. They private messaged me on the server. And they were feeding me these articles and books and videos and just disproving all of my objections to Catholicism. And one of them asked me a question. It was a very poignant question of, am I open to the fact that Catholicism might be true? And I thought about that, and I wasn't. I wasn't open to it being true at all. I was open to any religion being true, except for Roman Catholicism, because I hated Roman Catholicism. I hated Catholics. I hated the Pope. I thought they were evil, and, that was it. So I had to do a little soul searching, and after that I started to really read into Catholicism, partway to try to learn more about their faith so I could disprove it more, so I could attack Catholicism in a better and more intelligent way. Unfortunately for me at the time, the more I read, the more I realized I was wrong, theologically speaking, on basically every issue that I had an issue with the Catholic Church on. I was completely wrong. And this isn't like most testimonials you see of Catholic converts. I didn't have an apparition of the Blessed Virgin. I didn't have God call to me and I could hear him and, it was like a sign or something magically went off in my head that I knew that the church was real. Not to dissuade people from believing those. I believe them wholeheartedly as a Catholic, but it's very easy for Protestants or atheists to disprove them and be like, well, I don't believe in that because I don't believe this, I don't believe that. I didn't come to the Catholic Church because of that. I came to the Catholic Church because of an intellectual and theological understanding of the Church Fathers, the Scriptures, Church Magisterium, and Church history, that the Catholic Church is 100% the church that Jesus Christ founded through St. Peter. And you have to look in through the Church Fathers and what the early church believes, and you can see the Catholic Church within the early church, all the way up to now with apostolic succession. You can see it in the Old Testament as well, with the religious orders of the Jews and Old Testament prophecies talking about kings and priests. You could see the Roman Catholic faith in the Old Testament, in the Gospels, in the New Testament, and in the early church history of the church. You do not see that with Protestantism. Protestantism was founded in the 1500s and has a varying different degree of beliefs. And each time that they have a different belief as another Protestant, they schism and create another Protestant denomination. There's thousands of them, and they believe in wildly different things. Christ wouldn't want that. Christ founded a church. He founded a single church through St. Peter. In fact, he told him he was the rock in which he would build the church on. So this is the rock right here. This is the rock. This is Peter. This is what the church was built on. And it's spread all over the world. It's the largest Christian denomination in the world. It's everywhere. It has apostolic succession that you can trace back to the 12 apostles. That's amazing. And as a Protestant, I was jealous of that. Because all the Protestant religions that I was thinking of joining, they didn't have that. They didn't have that at all. There was no apostolic succession. It's just a creation of man. And another major problem I had with Catholicism when I was a Protestant was I believed in the five solas of Martin Luther. Sola fide, sola scriptura, sola, all of them. Most of them are not biblical. Sola scriptura is not biblical. There is nothing in the Bible that says that you can only get information from the Bible. In fact, it does the opposite. The Bible has many passages that state that tradition, sacred tradition, is a good thing. That you can't. Sola fide doesn't work either. Sola faith. Because James 2 states that faith without works is dead faith. Meaning it's not real. Real faith requires works. If you really believe in Jesus Christ, it will produce faith, it will produce works. True faith will produce works. On the contrary, faith comes a little bit from works. Because the more works you do, the more faith you will have. And the more faith you have, the more works will show in your life. Works are a show of faith. So, saying that it's a works-based salvation is not completely true. Catholicism teaches that works are a proof of faith. So if you do not have works, your faith, it's dead faith, according to James. So if you really look into Catholicism and its history, you will find that Catholicism is 100% without a doubt the church that Jesus Christ founded in 30 AD, and it's been the church that Jesus Christ has founded and stated that he will protect and keep holy for 2,000 years. It is a 2,000-year-old church. And Pastor Bob's church that he founded in his basement in 1983 cannot compete with that. I'm sorry. But that's my story. I don't know how convincing it is to you. I'm just getting it out there, so maybe somebody will think about it and join the true faith that Jesus Christ founded. Viva Cristo Rey, and God bless.